So anyone else feeling befuddled as to how to help right now? Everybody I know is making masks, but my machine is broken. So I can't even sew masks right now. I'm trying desperately to keep my airwaves away from anyone who might be contagious so that I don't catch the virus and inadvertently spread it to someone whose system won't handle it. Or overburden the healthcare system myself, should I need help. So I'm just staying home a whole lot, like a lot of us. And I listen, and I ruminate, and I wonder about the systems that we have in place in our world. And I wonder what we could learn about ourselves as a nation and as the human race through all of this. You know, every time I read this passage about the believers living communally, I am torn. Because I know so many have tried before and things usually fall apart. Personalities get in the way. Disagreements over what to do to resolve a problem splinter the community. Jealousy and suspicion rear their ugly heads when one person thinks the other is taking too much of the community's resources. Living together, learning to trust one another, sharing with one another is hard work. It takes constant negotiation and a whole lot of letting go of suspicion, letting go of the need to control, letting go of resentment. But communal living does not always fall apart. When I first served in South Dakota, I had the opportunity to visit a Hutterite community. Now there's quite a bit of misunderstanding about the Hutterites. People see them in the stores, all dressed pretty much alike. The women usually wear a simple cotton, almost prairie-style dress and a small white cap on their heads. They are often at the farmer's market selling produce. And so people assume that they live pretty much as the Amish do, very simply with no modern technologies at all. But that is not the case. This particular colony had absolutely the top of the line in farming equipment. The kitchen looked like a decked-out commercial kitchen with industrial-sized everything. And we were able to tour one family home, which was modest, but very modern. But that individual home didn't need much for a kitchen because all of their meals were shared together in common. Children of a certain age ate together with their teachers or their elders so that their lessons could continue. There was a wood shop where some of the men were working on this beautifully handcrafted furniture, and others were out in the field tending to those crops on those big pieces of machinery. Women were raking on the side of the road, and when it was time, some of them would move to that glorious kitchen to prepare a meal for the whole community. Now, of course, as one whose attention has never been held by domestic chores, the whole gender-specific role assignment thing felt really stifling to me. I would have wanted to be out in the shop working on that beautiful roll-top desk they were making. On the other hand, there was something so appealing about living in shared space, with shared goals and shared responsibilities. There seemed to be a natural support for one another there that I often find lacking in other circles in which I've traveled. I'd be interested to learn how they might be faring differently than many of us in the midst of this. And then my mind went to that story on the news last night of the beloved restaurant in the Twin Cities that is closing. Just a favorite of so many people. And they reported with sadness that there's just no way that those restaurant owners believe that they're going to be able to make it through this and survive financially. And so I ask why. This is a worldwide pandemic, moving from country to country as people travel around the globe. Don't you think we would have figured out this kind of interdependency that we live with by now? So why couldn't the whole economic system just agree that until this is over, we do what we need to help one another weather the storm? All these rules about how the economy works are created by humans. Just to get us through this crisis, couldn't we humans decide to suspend the rules for each country, each region, each city, each business as we go through our own viral peak? Could we decide that just for a while we will hold all things in common, protecting those who are most vulnerable to the economic effects of our decisions? Perhaps we can't, because most of us have no historical memory of what it is to work together for the common good. It's almost ingrained into our psyches that our task is to make it on our own. We who have will maintain our position of control by giving to the less fortunate, but a whole lot of us don't even know how to ask for help. Or we feel too ashamed to do so, as if we have somehow failed at life when life throws us a curve. Listen again to these words from John. The guard at the gates opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. Whenever he has gathered all of his sheep, he goes before them and they follow him, because they know his voice. Now, I don't raise sheep, so somebody could tell me all about their moments of obstinacy and what's wrong with this. But just for this metaphor, in my mind, I'm imagining every field of sheep I've ever seen. Tranquil. All of them out there eating together peacefully. And when it's time to move to a new pasture where there's once again enough for everyone, following the shepherd and trusting that familiar voice. I don't believe we should need to scramble and scrape to survive when we're living in loving community. I don't think anyone should need to hoard just in case. This universe provides everything that we need if we work together with care for the common good and trust in the one who made this universe. And we who are of the flock of Jesus Christ must follow that one who told us to live by faith, as do the lilies of the fields, and to love and care for our neighbor as we love ourselves. What can each of us do with what we have to build community where no one is in need? For some, that will mean learning to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. For others, it may mean thinking outside of our current systems to make real change a possibility. Wherever you are in your thinking, wherever you are on this journey, I invite you to take some time in prayer today, this week, and for all the weeks to come, and find your place in Christ's flock. Amen.